Gary, thank you for joining us again. It's been a busy few weeks since our last update, so we'll try to cover most of it. You made your first summer edition with the arrival of Ansu from Hastings United. What do you think he can bring to the side?
Well, Ansu's a big, athletic, tall, rangy central midfielder. He's someone we identified last year, and he's someone we tried to get in last year at a critical stage in the season. He's a specialist number 4, but can also play 6. So he's got that rangy sort of athleticism that can get him up the pitch when he lands on it. But he's got great range of passing, really comfortable on the ball. He's a great height for a midfielder as well at 6'4", which gives you that presence in there as well, because he does actually play his size as well. So he'll be a great addition, and I think he's one that the fans are really going to warm to. I expect big things from him next season, and he's looking really forward to getting started with us, which is, he really wanted to be here, so that's a big advantage to the start of his career with us.
We also confirmed Tommy Davis and Jay Porter will be here for 24-25. Whilst bringing in new additions, are you also looking to have continuity from an impressive run towards the back end of the season?
Yeah, I think you look at the successes of the teams that actually finished up in the higher echelons of the table. I think Hornchurch have had real continuity over the last 2 or 3 years, with just 1 or 2, maybe 3 additions over the course of each summer, with maybe an added player sort of here and there throughout the season. And Chatham similar. Chatham had quite a lot of their players that had actually been successful bringing them up into the division that were still there. So I think continuity is really important, and I was conscious of that when we made our decisions this summer, that as much as we wanted to evolve and we wanted to be better, and we wanted to make sure we achieved more than we did this year by improving the squad, we needed to make sure we took a strong backbone into the new campaign, and I think with the 11, 12, 13 players that we have taken into next year, it's a great platform to build from, because there's some really good players being retained, and there's some really good players that are on contracts for next season that were signed either in the season last year or the summer of last. So I'm pretty confident building around them players. We can be better than we were last year.
The attacking options have also been bolstered with the signings of Temi Babalola and Dakari Sheriff. You now have an array of attacking talent at your disposal.
And we're still looking to add a bit more to it, Jack, if I'm being honest. I'm really happy that we've got Moses retained, because I think he was very much missed when he was out of the season, and he was maybe underused at the start of the season, and I expect him to be 25 plus next year goal-wise, and he does. That's the words of the player as well. He feels that if he can pick up where he left off, he was the fittest he's been over the course of the last 2 or 3 years in the latter stages of this season. He really homed in on his health and his fitness while he was injured and out the team, and that benefited us when he did come back in, and he's carried that through. So with Mo to build around, obviously Richard, we're hoping he gets signed off and done over the course of the next 48 hours. But Dakari will bring us an option in the front end of the pitch that maybe we lacked a little. He's got real pace, and he's got a dynamic nature that really gets after people. He works extremely hard. He knows that his return's got to be better in terms of in front of goal, but he's been a little underused over the course of the last couple of sides he's been at, and a little in and out, and I feel just dropping back a level can really catapult him forward. I do believe that he's another player that could get 20 goals next season, and again, a player I'm really looking forward to, because he's got the right characteristics that I like in my front players. The press will start very much from the front like it always does, and he'll bring plenty of that. Temi brings a different balance and a different dynamic to the top end of the pitch. I think the penny has dropped with him. Speaking to him this summer, he's 23 now. When he was in my building at Hampton a few years back, he was only a mere pup and learning the game and finding out about himself. I had a couple of run-ins with him. He'll be quick to tell you that was quite hard on him in his early stages, but I've always done it in a respectful fashion, and we've always had a really good working relationship, and we've always stayed in touch. So when he became available this summer, I thought he just offered that something a little bit different in the final third. He's big, he's powerful, he's strong, you know, and on his day he's nearly unplayable. But what we've got to make sure we do is get a consistent level to his game, because his day is good if it can be a little more often, and that's what we've got to do, make sure that, you know, these good days that he can have, they're a little bit more frequent, and if we do that, we've got a real player on our hands.
Midfielders Alfie Cutbush and Tyrell Miller-Rodney, as well as Concord Rangers' Ben Stewart, have also joined the Blues.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with that. I think with what we've already got in midfield, you know, we've obviously we got Frankie already to do a bit in there. Jaden, I'm hoping that he'll come back pre-season fired up. He's still a young man learning his trade, but I think on the back of this season he'll be good. But yeah, the three that we've added, Tyrell Miller-Rodney, it's maybe taken 12 months longer than it should have. I was desperate to get him in last year because I thought he'd have ticked all the boxes for us this time last season, but you know, he's with me now. He's at a fantastic age. When we spoke in the summer about making sure our recruitment's in that sort of area where it's they've got that experience and they can cope with the weight of the badge and the expectation, he brings that. He's got a you know, a way with him that will warm himself not only to the terraces but also to the changing room. You know, everyone in the management team are really pleased to have him on board because he's a leader. He's a real leader of men, and you know, and I think we'll benefit from having him in our team, and you know, he'll bring something different to that midfield. And the other two you just mentioned, the two young projects that we brought in. Alfie is on the recovery from quite a serious injury, but you know, he's a really talented player. Again, plays with great energy and great enthusiasm. He's got fantastic quality on the ball. But you know, he's got to make sure he gets through pre-season and stays healthy and gets himself to where he needs to be. It's been a long road back for him, but we want to give him the platform to try and make that happen. And Ben, like you just mentioned, someone that was highlighted last year. He's only a young man. He's only 21 years old. You know, he's a close friend of you know, our right back George Wind. In the same mould as George, you know, unassuming, goes about his tasks and his jobs in a really professional manner, looks after himself in the right way, and is hungry to succeed. And the big attraction to getting Ben in the building is, you know, when you're looking at adding, you know, a bit of versatility in the squad, Ben ticks that box. He's a young player that's got over, you know, 100 games under his belt, you know, at non-league level at a tender age, but he's also capable of doing that in 3 or 4 positions. So he will benefit the side, you know, simply because of his flexibility and his role that he can play.
In terms of departures, we said goodbye to Alfie truly a few days ago, and ever present inside for 2 campaigns, which included a very impressive return for him last season. It must be difficult to see him go.
Yeah, really disappointed with that one, if I'm being honest, Jack. We did fight to keep him. There's no question that as much as he was a terrace favourite, he was a change room favourite, and the management, you know, were very adamant that they wanted to keep him, and we made him a really, you know, improved, substantial offer that, you know, showed our commitment to him. But I don't think it was a money issue with Alf. I think Alf is desperate to succeed. He's desperate to better himself, and you know, when an opportunity arose in the league above, I think it was, you know, it was that attraction that, and it was a club that he's obviously had an affinity with before. As much as he's been brilliant for us for 2 years, he has had a couple of other clubs in his, you know, in his career, and that him will come calling. I think that the fact he's under the age of 24, we did re-engage him, so it does mean there'll be a fee involved. They've made a, you know, an insufficient offer really, that's not, you know, it doesn't match our valuation of the player, and you know, we're still in negotiations on that, and we do expect it maybe to go to tribunal, but it wasn't, you know, it's not the ideal outcome. We did want to keep him in the building, but we're never going to alter or halt the progression of any player. And if there's progression there for them, then we're obviously going to do all we can to help them with that. But it's a disappointment, but we'll have to move on from it, and we'll have to look to replace the goals that Alfie brought this year. I think his return, you know, was the best he's returned since we've been playing non-league football, and hopefully he can back that up. But what we need to do as a football club is make sure we look to replace them goals, and that's what the challenge is.
And where are we up to regarding Adam Livers?
Adam, yes, that's not one as we spoke. I thought Adam had a really good start to his career with us. I thought he started very much on the front foot and definitely had a positive impact on the change room. But as the season went on, he struggled a little. I think he'd be the first to admit that the expectation and the weight of the badge and the relentless nature that this football club demands was something that he needed to make some adjustments with, and I think he struggled a little on that front. So we had those conversations with him in the summer when he come back, and we did make an offer to him, but it was a slightly reduced offer, but one that we still wanted to show our willing, and we wanted him to build on the early part of his campaign with us. But I think he is going to take an option elsewhere. I think he feels that he'll benefit more from maybe going into a football club in the league above. That don't get me wrong, they're in the league above and they're playing at a higher level, but maybe the expectations are a little lesser. I don't know, but I expect him to sign for a side at level 2, and he'll go with our best wishes. He's a player that I've worked with at 2 different football clubs, and someone that I've got a really good relationship with, and I wish nothing but the best for.
There is now just over 3 weeks until the start of pre-season. Do you expect there to be many more incomings in the coming weeks?
Yeah, I think there'll be still 2 or 3 more players to come in, Jack. I think there's still a need to improve, and we've got money put aside for a couple of marquee signings. There's no question of that. We are looking for the right ones that will improve us. I think it's been a real challenge this summer with recruitment. The battle that we've had with the levels has been tough. I think most players have wanted to stay at level 2 because they're the type of players that we're looking at. We are looking at the better players at level 3, but also the ones at a level 2 that are definitely going to improve our side and our squad. But we've had to show a certain amount of patience because the market has been pretty tough financially. There's a lot of demands financially going on out there, and it's still a players' market, but that's working its way back to us. I've tried to be patient to make sure we get the right bodies in the building. We've still got Brad in the background as well. I had a really positive conversation with Brad last Friday. He is still pursuing his options, and he's still looking to progress, and we totally respect that. But he made it quite clear to me that we're still a really good option for him if he doesn't see progression come his way. But he deserves to progress because his return over the last 2 years, not just last year, the year before as well, was fantastic. But if we can have Brad back with us next season, that'd be a real positive. And then with the couple of extra additions that we'd like to add to what we've already got, we're not going to be far away from where we need to be. And I'm looking forward to a really positive season, and hopefully an exciting one at that as well, because I think we've learnt plenty over the course of this season, and we know what's required and what's needed to be successful, and that's what this club deserves, and it's what we're demanding in the changing room.
Thank you for your time, Gary.
You're most welcome, Jack, anytime.